channel. So we are working on a very cool project today. That will be the fluid damper install. It's actually the part number upside down, of course. I'm going to install this on my L5p Duramax, which is 2017, but should work for 17 through 19. I also opted for a pin crank as well as the ARP bolt. I'm pretty sure it's an ARP bolt. For this job, what we're gonna need is we're gonna need a fan clutch tool. You don't gotta have it, but it's nice to have it. We got a grown man torque wrench as well as the adult size 3/4 breaker bar. We're gonna use every bit of both for this job. I've done that before on my LBZ truck, and also we need a flywheel tool to lock the flywheel in place. So why are we doing this? Factory harmonic balancer, you know, this obviously is a crank balancer. Factory balancer is only works at certain RPMs, and also they get deteriorated over time. Fluid damper works at much broader RPM band, and also I installed this prior on my LBZ a few years ago, and I was extremely happy how smooth the engine felt after the install. And you know, L5p don't have this problem, but LBZ were bad about breaking cranks, and mine was tuned up pretty good with the built transmission and such. So hold on, let me change briefly. This is the part number of the kit. This is actually the pin kit for the L5p Duramax. I imagine it's going to be the same for the LBZ, LLY, and LML and LB7 Duramax prior. Here is the part number for the bolt, whoever needs to see this. And here's the fluid damper, and as I mentioned prior, here's the part number. So this ideally, it's heavier, it's substantially heavier than the stock damper, but you should be able to see much smoother idle and much smoother acceleration, like just the way the engine works. So what we got here is the fan clutch tool. As I mentioned before, you don't gotta have it, but it's nice to have it. It's super easy to use on the truck. Breaker bar, we're gonna use breaker bar to remove the old crank bolt. I think it's 24 millimeter. We're gonna check in a minute. And we got this torque wrench I got off Amazon. I know it's super ghetto, but that's what we do on this channel, is ghetto stuff. So this should get me to 325 foot-pounds. We are pretty much ready to go on with this, and I'm going to show you the first steps and what we need to do to access the balancer and such. So I'll be back with you in just a minute. So where I'm at with this job as of right now is I removed this trim piece, the plastic trim piece that goes on top. I got the intake elbow out of the way, and what I'm looking at is I need to get to that bolt right there at the bottom. But meanwhile, I really want to remove this because I need as much clearance as possible to get to be able to pin to drill the crank. So to get this out of the way, I never done that before. I don't see anything online in terms of information. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking it, you know, slowly. So what I'm doing is I'm removing this ring. There's going to be a couple of clips right here and right here. So the top is loosened. I imagine it's going to be at least one more, maybe two more clips, and I can slide that ring back this way. Then I'm going to remove this shroud, which ideally probably going to come up. And what I see is there is clips right here, and it was held by these clips right here, and there was a clip right here on the opposite. Actually, it's still there, I think. Yes, there's a clip right there, and I imagine there's going to be a couple clips at the bottom. So the truck is still hot because I just came out with the dyno. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to remove the clip in that corner that I just showed you a second ago. And next step would be I will be getting the sway bar as well as all this, well, probably the front skid plate out of the way. So with this sway bar and the skid plate out of the way, I should be able to lift up on this, lift the shroud up. Once I get the shroud up, I can start working on removing the fan, and there should be plenty of room. But just, you know, we're gonna take it one step at a time. Let me jump on that sway bar as well as the skid plate. So I got the skid plate out of the way, sway bar out of the way. Here is the main balancer with the bolt. I mean, it's right here. So I'm gonna keep going at this plastic. So I see another clip right here. I'll try to zoom in probably. Yeah, that's another clip for that piece. There's also a clip for the, I imagine it's a transmission line, the one right there, yes. So I'm gonna unclip this, hopefully loosen the transmission line. So yeah, so for this shroud, I also have another clip all the way on top, right there. Yeah, there's another clip we can get to it from the top, and this secondary piece shroud should be able to slide back. Hold on, can't see shit. Okay, so this piece should be able to slide back towards the engine. This should kind of release this shroud right there. So yeah, so what I'm looking at right now is it's probably going to be another clip to the side of the shroud. I'm going to check out from the top, and same is going to go for the second side, for the other side. So yeah, so let me see what happens. Let me release this shroud first and just get it, you know, pushed back. So I'm just going to go take it a little at a time. I just want to give you a heads up on removing the shroud. I'm not there yet, but I'm actually getting pretty close. So first thing first, I'm probably going to end up removing the top radiator hose and removing it at the radiator. So this should give you clearance for that tab. Now the main thing is going to be fitting for the AC line here that holds it in one, or right here maybe, holds it in one place. Also, it's going to be fitting for the tranny line attached to the shroud. Remove that before you do anything. It just pretty much, it pops out. Just carefully using the clip tool, get out of the way. Then the main fight would be getting this shroud in the getting this shroud piece past this transmission line at the bottom. You'll get the idea. But what I'm gonna do is I got it as high as it's gonna get at this point, and this, now I'm gonna loosen this radiator hose. It's obviously going to be a coolant bath, and I'm going to get it out of the way so the shroud comes up. So that's the next plan. I'm just going to do this. Okay, so as I planned, the upper hose did the trick. So now at this point, I'm just going to work this up, all just clearing the tranny lines and AC lines and just a bunch of lines. Once this comes out, I'm probably going to take a lunch break. But yes, I need to, then next step is going to be removing this fan clutch, and that should give me hopefully enough room to get the stuff, start getting stuff out of the way. So I know there got to be an easier way probably, but where I'm at with this right now is I had to remove the actual fan carefully without damaging the radiator. Hold on. Okay, there it comes. So that's 4 bolts that's held to the actual fan clutch. So this should give me some room to possibly either wiggle that center shroud out of the way, which it got to come out, and then it should give me plenty of access to the actual to the main shroud. But yeah, this is pretty ridiculous. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm gonna do the man, it's getting hot. Okay, so I'm gonna do this piece. It's gonna be just a bunch of bolts. It's gonna be one on top right there, one right here, and I can access everything. They appear to be 14mm or 13s, but yes, once I get those out, I probably can actually slide the whole piece up and out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep you posted. As of right now, I had to lift this up just a little bit. It would not clear past the fan clutch, unfortunately. So I had to undo the fan. It definitely is a job. I got the fan, just a bunch of 10mm nuts right here, and it wasn't tight at all. And next step would be actually removing this inner shroud. And I'm pretty sure there's an easier way, but I'm limited on the information. So what I'm doing right now is I got this inner shroud loosened completely from the mounting points. There's 4 13mm bolts, good Loctite, but they weren't too tight. Now I'm using this fan clutch tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen fan clutch. I'm going to try to work it through that way because there's plenty of room on that side, and this should give me a way to remove this main shroud and this secondary defense shroud. So yeah, so right now I'm gonna get this flex tool on the thing. It's normal lefty righty, lefty loosey, righty tighty. So we're gonna hit it a couple times with a hammer. It should come right off, and I'm gonna manually unspin the fan clutch. The only key thing right now is not to damage the radiator. I haven't got any scratches, anything on it right now, so hopefully I'm gonna keep it that way till the next step. So I had to use actually my air chisel for this clutch. It was on there like crazy. I'm not sure, it took multiple attempts with the air chisel to get it off, but again, not a big deal. I got this off. So the goal right now is to get it undone, and we're gonna undo this this tab right there for the wiring. We'll probably use my clip tool, come from the other side. Yes, that's it. Okay, that's cool. So yeah, so this unsnaps, and once I get this fan clutch off, I know this thing's gonna be pretty heavy, but I should be able to lift it out and work it this way, like in this opening here, and then I can remove all the plastic, and I should actually get to the damper. Here's the idea. Again, without being super careful, without damaging the radiator, gonna get this fan shroud. I'm gonna need both hands, but the idea is everything's wide open now, so you're gonna get probably caught on a couple of these transmission lines, but all in all, it's fairly easy at this point. Finally, I'm looking at the damper. Everything's super open, wide open. It does appear that somebody was grabbing on that on the bolt before it, so you know, they might need to turn the engine over, or maybe it came off before. We can see the marks on it. Anyway, so now everything's super wide open. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna lock the flywheel, and I'm gonna take this off, and then once this is loosened, I'm gonna take the belt off. So I'll be back. So all we need to do is undo this transmission inspection plate, which is pretty much gonna pry it out. Come on. Sorry. It's hard to do with one hand. It's finna pop. Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. Here's the torque converter, and here's the locking plate. So you gotta lock into the flywheel, which ideally is gonna go in right now. Okay, it needs to move up this way, so I need to move the engine while looking at it counterclockwise just a tad to actually be able to slide this in. So yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna move the engine just a touch, and this should settle in there properly. Update, I got my this is a 1/2-inch breaker bar with the pipe on top. So we're looking about maybe 4 feet of leverage. It's bending it, but I'm gonna get a good pull and see if this undoes the main bolt. It just needs some oomph. That's it. So that wasn't too bad. I got this bolt off. Now again, I have a feeling that somebody messed with it because it wasn't too tight. My LBZ was crazy tight. So again, either way, I'll get this removed. Next step is going to be removing the belt, which is going to be super easy. We're just going to use, I think it was a 1/2-inch wrench, and just going to move the tensioner and get it out of the way. And then we're going to be looking at the actual crankshaft. Well, we're going to slide this balancer off, and then we're going to look at the crankshaft. Alright, so here's the bolt. I don't see nothing. I don't see anything unusual with it, but yes, this is it. So yes, next step would be actually removing the belt. And again, there's some slack in it. I am super stoked that this balancer moves so easily on the crankshaft. I wonder if there is any damage to the... it's finna drop. Alright, that's it. Yes. Okay, I don't see any damage to the pin, but we're gonna inspect it closer when we get to it. And it work out. And stop that piece of shit. There you go. Okay. It ain't critical, but it's definitely seen better days. So I'm looking at... Yeah, you know what? I think it didn't see better days. I think this thing is shot. Look at all the stuff that came out. This is no bueno right there. This is no bueno at all. Look at this. Huh. Wow. Okay, yes, I think this thing is shot. You can see how it's been splashing whatever was inside of it. If there is anything inside. Main balancer off. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna clean everything up with the degreaser. We're not gonna spray anything not to damage the seal. We're gonna use clean rag and wipe everything off. The pin is not sheared, everything is good, it's undamaged. So once everything is cleaned up, I'm gonna look through the instructions on the fluid damper, and we're gonna go to the next step, where we're gonna be probably installing the damper and then drilling the crank. Alright, I'll be back. I was gonna mention, this is how this, I think it's similar, this washer is similar to Ford diamond friction washer. I think that's what it's like. The guys that work on Ford and Mazda, they would know what I'm talking about. It's just additional, it bites into the crank snout and bites into the hub right here, and actually it holds pretty decent. It's like additional holding point. So anyway, this friction washer goes between the fluid damper and the crankshaft. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw this on there onto the what's up, man? So the idea would be getting this thing on like so. I'm gonna slide past that tab, and that should stay right there. Now the next step would be actual fluid damper, and hopefully it's gonna go on fairly easy. I got everything cleaned up really good. It should bite it really well. So I'm about to go in with the fluid damper, and then we're gonna be drilling. So the idea right now is keep it square to the crank, and make sure just ease on up. Hopefully goes on. I have a bad feeling, but we're about to find out. We'll need both hands for that, so I will be back with you once the damper is on. This definitely was shot because there's all the jelly. It's not this cracked up stuff right here, it's all the stuff that got spun out of it. This thing is done. I'm glad I'm actually doing it, and you can actually see that this side is flat and this one comes out of the rubber. So yes, I'm glad I'm doing it. So just got to make sure the snout on this thing is clean, the snout on the crank is clean, the diamond friction washer goes between the washer goes between the damper and the actual hub. So I'm gonna go in with it, and I'll be back. Okay, so I got the damper on. What helped tremendously was a super light film of grease. Like literally, you get just a tiny dab and spread it inside the damper hub as well as on the crank. Like literally, you can barely even feel it or see it or anything, and it slid right on. So I got it on. So now I'm gonna be prepping everything to get it drilled. So I know my pin location, factory pin, is at between 11 and 12 o'clock. So I'm gonna, so ideally the pin location is here, right there close to that hole at 12 o'clock. So we're gonna be drilling somewhere here in between these two holes. I'm gonna get the fixture ready and read the instructions, and I'll be back. I got the damper on, as I mentioned prior. Now I got this fixture on, and as you see, hard for me to see. There's that hole, final hole for that to be able to drill, you know, and pin this damper. So I'm using the stock bolt. I'm gonna get it slightly tight. I'm not gonna do anything crazy, but my pin was right at, sorry, I'm not even showing it. My pin was right between 11 and 12 o'clock on this on the crank, so the factory pin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually drill. I'm gonna drill right between, you know, the 6 and 5 o'clock in the opposite direction, 180. It don't have to be precisely 180, but it gotta be pretty close. So yeah, so I'm gonna get this bolt tight. I'm gonna remove this bolt because I've been looking at it for like an hour. Get this bolt so I don't lose it. At this point, I'm gonna get my drill situated, make sure I don't mess up. Should be enough room to actually drill. I'm gonna get some coolant so to keep the drill bit cold. I mean cool. I'm gonna measure how much I need to drill, and I'm gonna get to it. Try to show you. They cannot see this deal with the phone, and anyway, long story short, this crank is drilled, and I'm actually touching the paper, my masking tape now. So at this point, I'm going to clean everything off, double check the tape. And at this point, I'm going to be removing the bolt and the fixture plate. So yeah, so this Harbor Freight $17 90-degree drill deal actually worked out fine. And honestly, this deal right here saved the day, because otherwise I'd be still drilling just using my shoulders. So yes, pressing against this frame at the bottom, creating even pressure. Just gotta check it every 5-10 seconds. Check the pressure, make sure it's even. And constantly I'm using some coolant. That's like an old school trick for the drill bit to stay sharp and not dull. So yeah, so I should be good at this point. I'm gonna double check all the tape and measurements, and I'm gonna remove the fixture at this. I'm working late today. The crank is drilled. I'm about to throw the pin in there. I'm going to use again very light coat of moly so it goes in easier. I don't think it's directional, but probably, yeah, it's not directional. So anyway, so yes, I'm going to tap it in to the crank, and then we're going to be ready for the bolt. Okay, so I'll show you pictures as I go. By real quick, as per FLYWHEEL instructions, we got to lube the area where the washer meets the damper. Actually lube the threads, try to focus, and then we gotta lube the area. It's actually stuck. Anyways, where the head of the bolt meets the washer. So at this point, I'm just gonna go in. It's getting bad out there today. Alright, all we gotta do is turn and pray, turn and pray. We got the pin installed, damper's all the way in. I'm gonna show out with some torque. Calls for, I think, 323, 325-ish. So keep going.
And that's wrong. I had threads cleaned. Not sure, let's activate this way now. Okay, it's going now. Okay, so anyway, you got the idea. Once I get this completely in, I will get the my torque wrench on this. So what I got here is the Amazon 3/4 inch torque ratchet. He got excellent reviews. I'll try to attach it in the description, the video description. So I got I think it's 33 inch 12-point socket. This is not the way the instructions go, but the way I usually do on a torque to yield bolt is I usually go in a 100-pound increments. So we're gonna go to 100 pounds, then we're gonna go to let it sit for about 10-15 minutes, then gonna go to another 100, which is gonna be 200, and then we're gonna go to 300 and then 325. So what I got here is I got it. I'm gonna get it set. The way it works is you just pull it down and then twist it either way. I'm gonna need two hands, but I'm gonna set it 100 and do a 100 pull. Should be fairly easy, and let it sit and rest, and then we're gonna go for 200 and so on. Okay, I'm on my last pull. I'm gonna try to lay my phone down like this. All right, 300. I got to pull. I got to pull 20, I think 23 more. I'm gonna let it rest for a few minutes and clean up my tools, and got one more pull to go. Okay, so this torque was pretty ridiculous, but I got it tight. What I'm gonna do tomorrow is I'm gonna throw the belt on and be done with it for the day. Just kind of tired. In the morning I'm gonna confirm the torque, because by then it might I guess release or whichever. Just gonna confirm the torque in the morning, and after that I'm just gonna throw it together. All in all, not bad of a job. I like the pin idea. It is awesome. Me saving time with this pry bar pushing against the drill was literally it saved so much time. It's crazy. Otherwise everything should be sitting pretty good. Everything's per instruction, everything's per torque. I don't think this is gonna fall apart. FLYWHEEL calls for retorquing after the heat cycle. I don't think. I'm just gonna cut corner here. I think it's gonna be totally fine with this as is. Again, in the morning I'm gonna confirm torque. Right now I'm gonna throw the belt on, and I will be done with this job for the day. I'm gonna jump on the first thing in the morning. Y'all have a great day. Thank you. So I am back at it. I got the belt on. As I mentioned, I just checked the torque again on the main bolt, which it didn't change. Everything is good now. It's a very important, crucial part is to take this plate, the holder, the flywheel holder from under the truck. I'm going to just slide it out and put the check plate back on. But at this point I am going to start assembling this thing. Let me pull that plate from under there, and I'll be right back with you. I'm gonna proceed with this thing. It's definitely gonna be a tough job, but we'll get it knocked out. So I partially inserted the main shroud, the one that goes to the radiator, and now I got this two-piece thingy with a top. It says actually top right here on top, being on top. So I'm gonna, right now this being inserted like 3/4 the way, I'm gonna try to work this the fan thing, you know, the fan shroud, the main structural that bolts up to the block. I'm gonna try to slide it past and kind of all together. The only thing I see being in the way, this would be easy. The belt, I can get that out of the way, no problem. But this AC line is kind of somewhat in the way. Honestly, getting the AC compressor out of the way would make life much easier. But we're not looking for easy ways. So yeah, we're gonna get it.
I'm gonna proceed. Like I said, I'm just gonna try to work this in while this being you know, kind of somewhat up. Okay. While I'm working all these parts in, I got a little piece of the cardboard. This should save the fins greatly. The only thing I got right now is a very minor couple bends right here. Not a big deal at all. So at this point, what I'm thinking, I'm actually going to insert the fan as well and work the fan in all the same time. I do believe there's an easier way, and the easier way would be, and honestly, I would recommend it right now. If I ever do this again, or somebody of y'all, any of y'all does this, take the compressor off, flip it to the other side. This should all it is just 4 bolts, and disconnect the couple plugs out there and lay it out there on the other side. Don't have to obviously lose Freon or anything. This will give you this clearance that you actually really need. But anyway, right now I'm gonna be lazy, so I'm gonna just make it work as is. The way it is, I installed everything all together. I put a protective cardboard out there by the radiator so we don't damage any fins. Then the main issue that I see is this structural piece, because it got all those mountain legs here, right there, and everywhere. So to pass those legs, you just pretty much got to work it this way and simultaneously work everything down. And you got to pass this radiator you know, like opening here, as well as those few transmission lines and AC lines on this side. Just take your time. It literally takes like 10 minutes, and just work it a little bit left and right, go past these AC lines. But ideally you would want to remove the AC compressor just so much faster. I mean, you'll blow through these with the compressor out of the way. But yes, I'm almost done. I'm gonna have this done in just a minute. And hopefully I will be able to slide the fan clutch past on this side like I did before while I was removing it, and then I'm just gonna put it all together, and hopefully we'll make this all work. Okay, so again, I got everything vaguely situated where it should be. All these mounting tabs for the structural piece. The cardboard is still there. This is ready to drop in and go past this radiator hose fitting. So what we got right now is we got this opening that should give me plenty of clearance to throw in the fan clutch. So I think, and I've never done this before, and I know there's easier way, I'm sure, but I think this is the best time to throw in the fan clutch. So we're gonna work this through here and get it started. Sum it up right quick while we at it. I got the fan clutch on. Do not forget to plug this main harness on it, and it's gonna go through this the structural piece that bolts up to the block. Throw the wire through it. So that'll be one thing. Now it's time, before I tighten everything, I mean, you see I got bolts started right there, I got bolts started here, and I got bolts started here. I'm gonna start the bottom bolt that goes into that piece right there. I'm gonna get it started in just a second, but meanwhile what I'm gonna do is, it's super important, is take out the cardboard that was, so I got the plug in, make sure it's snapped into the respectful position. So right now, with all the shrouds is still loose, I'm gonna pull the cardboard out. Just carefully pull it up, and it should come right out. Okay. Very carefully. It's gonna go on the ground. Okay, so now, before we tighten everything, I think it's a good time to actually get those 10 millimeters done on the fan blades, you know, the fan that attaches to the actual fan clutch. So I'm gonna work through this. It gives me this opening gives me enough room to actually work those 10s. I'm gonna go in a crisscross pattern that weren't super tight, you know, from the get-go. So I'm just gonna get them pretty close. I don't have torque values for them, but just gonna get them somewhat tight. Once those are in, we're gonna finish up the fan shroud, and all else should be fairly easy install. But yes, like I say, the cardboard removed, the plug is plugged up. As soon as we get those 10s onto that fan assembly, all else gonna be. Okay, so in situations like this, electric ratchet comes in handy, but you can do it by hand. I got this little ratchet here. I'm just tightening them, these bolts. Let me see. Let's see. But I will finish tightening everything by hand. That's 13. So I got the top bolts on, the shroud is in. Just gonna install all the clips all around, whichever clips you loosened. And what got left is the coolant pipe and the intake. And we should be getting pretty close to wrapping this thing up. It definitely was a job. It wasn't something crazy, but it wasn't like a 2-hour job for sure. So yes, I'll post pictures as I go. Fan clutch tool is 47mm. I was going to mention that. The fan clutch, once you get a hand tight, it should be fine. You don't have to tighten it, but I always overdo things when I don't have to. So I actually hit a couple times just to make sure it's tight. The thing is, the engine is spinning in a way that fan clutch cannot come off. But I guess it's still a good idea to get it tightened up just a little bit, hit a couple times. So everything is getting close to be wrapped up. Just got a few more clips. I'm sure you can handle installing this intake elbow as well as this sway bar by yourself. At this point, I'm gonna get everything installed, test everything, make sure everything is good, and I'll be back with the final video with the final word. Getting ready to crank the truck. I got the intake back on, mass airflow plugged up, everything's cleaned up. I mean, the fan shroud is all together. We got the cardboard piece out. We got that blocker, not the blocker plate, but the flywheel holder out. Everything is mounted, everything is tight. So I still got to throw a couple splash shields, a skid plate and a couple splash shields in. But all in all, I think we're coming up pretty close to actually cranking the truck. I don't see why not. The shroud is good, the fan clutch is good. So I think I might as well just crank the truck as is. Let's see if I got the key. No, I have a key. I'm gonna go get the key now. I'm gonna get this thing cranked up. Oh boy. Alright. Hey y'all, so I want to sum this up right quick, the installation. Unfortunately my phone died when I was starting the truck, but everything seems to run super smooth. I got everything put together, all the piping, coolant needs to be bled again, but it's gonna be no issue right there. The truck, just the engine itself, seems to run super smooth. Previously it wasn't much of vibration either. I love the feel, the way the truck feels on the road. Again, it's not that much of a difference, but it just feels, maybe it's placebo, it just feels quieter and smoother, but it might be the placebo. The fluid damper comes in with this inspection, I guess, a certificate. I'm gonna throw this in a glove compartment just in case. All in all, job itself it ain't bad, but it also is not easy. Two things I'm gonna suggest: definitely remove the AC compressor and get it laying out there somewhere out the way. You don't have to disconnect, just 4 bolts out the way. It's gonna give you a lot of access. Second thing, definitely get you a huge breaker bar and a huge torque wrench. The torque wrench that I used, it actually crapped out at the end, so it definitely was not. Yeah, it's gonna go back to Amazon, long story short. So now I'm gonna show you a picture right quick. I'll be back, I'll show you it's a lifesaver. This is pretty much the tool that made it work. First of all, I want to give a shout out to FLYWHEEL, whoever they use this drill bit from, wherever they get it from. I need to find out. Nick, you need to tell me where you get this drill bit from. It drilled through the crank and through the fluid damper, and it's still super sharp. I mean, this is pretty impressive. Definitely use some coolant or whichever the cutting compound you need to use. But this thing you can get Harbor Freight for 17 bucks. I think $17.99, and it's just gonna make your day so much easier. There's no way around it really. This here I will attach the link in the description. What else? Everything is super easy overall. It's good to, like I say, just inspect everything, triple check everything. The worst part of the job probably was the main bolt and the fan clutch removal. It definitely was it was pretty challenging. That wasn't a big deal either way. I am happy. You cannot beat this. My old damper was shot, and now that the new damper is on and truck runs smoother, it just feels smoother. It's actually quieter. As I'm talking right now, it's quieter. It used to be a ticky, noises everywhere. Right now it's just super quiet. So I'm super happy. It's definitely recommended. As a UPS guy right there. Yes. So yes, I think it's gonna be. That's